Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin. Today we're unboxing the Lenovo Legion 7i. So if you've been following along, I just did the 5i, which is for casual gaming, and the 7i is more of that mainstream tier, that performance tier. Not quite the, I wouldn't say even enthusiast, I'd say professional tier. For instance, that professional esports tier. Lenovo doesn't even really make anything for that tier. They used to have when they first did Legion, they did the 920, and that was for that, top end tier. So this is, I've phrased it before where the 5 series is kind of, if you want a work laptop, but you also want the ability to play, and then the 7 is more like, if you want a gaming laptop, but you want the ability to work. So, I mean, it's one of my personal favorites because I am not a professional gamer. I've always appreciated the design, that it's a little bit more of a professional look. It's not very flashy. It's something that I can carry around and I can sit down and work in a Starbucks and not, have it look like I'm using some kind of gaming PC. But there's a lot more RGB lighting on this compared to the 5i, which well, the one I got was white, but it has some RGB stuff. Also, the last thing I want to say, though, is before I start opening this up, is that the I stands for Intel. This one has a Core i7, I believe 10750H, because the reviewer's guide that I just went to check after I said Core i7, because there's two. There's a hexa-core one and there's an octa-core one. But I believe it's the 10750H, but it doesn't say. But it's also this one. I know it has a 15.6-inch screen that's supposed to be 500 nit brightness, 240 hertz refresh rate, which is going to be awesome. That higher refresh rate when gaming, it's clutch. NVIDIA actually showed me this at CES. They put me. I don't know. I'm not. They put me in front of a game where you're basically aiming a gun through a crack in a door, and people are walking by, and you have to shoot them in the head as they're walking by. And I played it once on a 60 hertz screen, and I shot 0 of the 9 people. And then I did it on a 300 hertz screen, and I shot 8 out of 9. So there's a big difference when you get that higher refresh rate. And then the other thing that's going to be under the hood is an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Super. So there's going to be some cool stuff here, and so let's start. But yeah, the I stands for Intel, and the interesting thing about that to me is that that's the variant. If you just get the Legion 7, that's going to have an AMD CPU in it. It's going to AMD Ryzen 4000. So the variant, it's the 7i. This is going to be a charger, a box and a box and a box, huh? And that's going to be the usual 230 watts, charger that Lenovo has that we have to use because it's obviously not going to be USB-C either. It is 230 watts. It's always 230 watts. But I'll just put this aside. Obviously, it's not USB Type-C. There are no USB-C chargers with that high of wattage. It just doesn't exist. The highest one I've seen is Dell's, the 130 watts that comes with the XPS 15. However, that's still not a standard. It's not power delivery, which means that for everybody besides Dell, it's like 100 watts. So let's pull this out. The box is actually pretty small, and for such a big box, I guess like this is the box you expect a gaming laptop to come in because they're always so big, and so I finally got it out. I'll put this aside. This is quite nice. I gotta say, the 5i did not come in any kind of special gaming centric, or I'd say consumer centric packaging. It was just in a big box like that. And by the way, that's pretty standard. Like, so doing something like this for a gaming laptop is interesting to say the least. So here we have it. It's in this nice little fabric here. And this is it. Legion 7i. And to be honest, it's not very different from the 730 and the 740. By the way, it is new branding. All of Lenovo's stuff is getting rebranded this year. where we had they're really doing it a lot because of ThinkPads, and they did it on their entire lineup because the ThinkPads they had like the X390 and the T490, and where like the 3 means 13 inch, the 4 means 14 inch, but then 90 was just a generation, and they ran out of generations. So they started calling these things T14, X13. And so we're seeing that across the board where like, you have the new Yoga Slim 7 instead of the Yoga S 740. So just simpler naming. So we had the Legion Y720, Y730, Y740, and now just the 7 and the 7i. What else is in here? Just a little bit of paperwork. Nice little box, which is it's interesting trying to put a gaming laptop in this kind of compact box, which is kind of cool, but I don't know. I never really understand it. It's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen it from other companies as well, where they put the laptop in this little box, but then the charger is also in the big box. So it doesn't really make sense to me why this separate box really exists. So yeah, the design is very much the same as it has been since the Y730. It was different in the first generation when they had the 520, the 720, and the 920. That was very much more that flashy gaming laptop look, and this was meant to be a much more industrial design. It's meant to be something that you can bring to a professional environment and then obviously still be able to game when you want to. So the color is called slate gray. It's made out of aluminum, which is what the previous... And by the way, when I say that the design is similar to what we've seen in the last couple generations, I mean the colors too, because the 5 series was black, and the 7 series is more of a silver, well, honestly, a slate gray. Okay, so looking at the ports, we've got several, right? So we've got a USB Type A over here. I believe it's USB 3.1 Gen 1, which is 5 gigabits per second. Now, if we look at the back over here, most of the ports were moved to the back with the 730, and the whole idea was better cable management, which is very common for gaming PCs. There's that power adapter. And then over here, we've got 2 more USB Type A ports, Ethernet, and HDMI 2.0. Now, this should be, yes, so these... If we take a look at the labels here, see the number 10 there, that indicates that they're USB 3.1 Gen 2, also known as USB 3.2 Gen 2, which gets you 10 gigabits per second. And by the way, that USB 3.1 Gen 1 port is also known as USB 3.0 and USB 3.2 Gen 1. You can thank the USB Consortium for that. Ports over here, this is actually pretty cool in my opinion. We've got a Thunderbolt 3 port, which is really nice. And then we've got a USB 3.1 Type-C port. It doesn't say what generation that is, and there's no label there. But what's cool about that is that, like, for instance, I did just review the 5i. It did not have Thunderbolt 3. And what I'll often do with PCs, or what I almost always do, I hook them up to a dock. And it's a Thunderbolt dock, and I connect two 4K monitors to it. And if it's just USB 3.1, then one of those monitors will work as 4K, one will work as Full HD. So having Thunderbolt, like, because this PC obviously has the power to handle multiple 4K monitors. This is an RTX 2080. You can see it looks like we've got speakers above the keyboard there. Those are Dolby Atmos. So we should get some solid sound quality out of this. That's something that's important for playing games. Okay, the trackpad is clickable. It's the first thing I checked because it was something I really didn't care about in the Legion 5i. For gaming, you really don't want a clickable trackpad because when you're playing games, you don't want to accidentally click. That's just something you don't want. It's another reason we're not going to see a touchscreen. You never see touchscreens on gaming laptops because you can't. You can't like on a touchscreen. Even a piece of dust could cause a false touch, and you don't want that when playing games. Notice I just turned it on. We do have RGB lighting, and it's cycling through the different colors, and that's going to be fun. RGB lighting is always fun. We've also got a privacy guard in the webcam, so we can pull this off, and we can see that we can turn this on or off. So I've got this guy all set up. That's the first time, maybe ever, that Lenovo has sent me a PC that didn't come with some Lenovo account on there. You know, usually it's got a local account that's just named after Lenovo, and then I have to do a reset. So this one just kind of starts fresh, which is nice. No bloatware except for, of course, McAfee, so that's going to be something I'm obviously going to want to uninstall right away. You can control that refresh rate. You should be able to get to that through the NVIDIA control panel. And NVIDIA software, like, you know, some GeForce machines don't actually come with NVIDIA software. I think it's usually pretty worth it. You could find stuff in here where you should be able to adjust that refresh rate, but I don't know, and I'm not going to look for it right now. Also, you got GeForce Experience. That's where you could find drivers and such, driver updates, and I'm not going to do that right now either because that's going to ask me to sign in. iCUE for lighting, and that's going to let you adjust some of the lighting on here. By the way, you got the keyboard, and I'm seeing, oh yeah, there's all around the base. We've got it's cycling through lighting, and then of course you can change it. It's on the side as well, goes right up to here, and we've got lighting in the vents in the back. Now notice they didn't put lighting on these vents over here, which is kind of interesting. One of the things with the cooling that Lenovo points out is that they put fans in the back in the corners, and by putting vents on both sides, one here, you're basically pushing out twice as much hot air. It's a smart idea. So we've got RGB lighting back here, and then finally we've got RGB lighting right in that Legion logo in the lid. And I mentioned wanting to make it look more professional at times. So, you know, like this is like I talked about bringing this to a a professional environment, and like this isn't the stuff that you want lighting up in the office. You know, so obviously you could turn that stuff off though, and then it just looks like a regular laptop. So this is pretty cool. You know, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Gaming PCs are a lot of fun to review because I get to play games. It's a pretty straightforward value proposition for me. And I enjoy the RGB lighting. I like the 7 series. Like this is probably my favorite gaming laptop because, you know, I wouldn't carry around something that's 10 pounds. And there are gaming laptops that are over 10 pounds. Dell makes one that's actually got a desktop CPU. I never checked which CPU is in here, but Dell has one that actually has a desktop CPU. And if you're unfamiliar, it is the 10750U, which is hexa-core. So the 10750H, sorry. H series is 45 watt. That's what you find in gaming laptops, mobile workstations, anything with a lot of power but is also mobile. In desktop PCs, you're going to find, well, there's no actual suffix. It's called S series. But that would be something like, for the 9th gen, it was, or for 10th gen, we'll say 10900, Core i9 10900. And then that's 65 watts. And then the desktop one is actually, now it's 125 watts, which would be 10900K. And that's the unlocked desktop one, which means you can overclock it. For mobile, that would be HK. But so like now we're going up to 125 watts. So what I'm saying is Alienware has that one where you can where it actually puts a desktop processor in a laptop, and the thing weighs over 10 pounds. Like, it's not something you want to carry around or bring anywhere. You know, maybe if you're traveling, you know, like it's not something you would throw in your bag to go to your friend's house because it's a pain. You know, so something like this, to me, that's the sweet spot. You know, and that's what, like, for me personally, and I like it because it's got the lighting, it's got a little more perks than say the 5i or the 5. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna install some games and run some benchmarks and edit some videos, and you know, you'll hear more from me on this. So stay tuned. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.